This is 3-4, graphing functions. We're going to look at problem 1A, which gives us an equation, and the D stands for domain. Remember that the domain is our x values. So we are going to make a table of values right now, x, y, table of values. And we're going to put our domain in here, -5, -3, 1, and 4. And we're going to calculate by plugging in the x value, like the -5, into our x, and solve for our y value. This is like our question mark right now, so that we can make a bunch of ordered pairs. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm taking my x value -5, and I plugged it into the x spot of the equation right here. So I plugged my -5 in where the x was, and I calculate. I get +10 plus y equals 3, and now I have to isolate that y, so I subtract 10 from both sides, and I got y equals -7. And so we write that up where we next to the -5, and that's going to be my first ordered pair on my graph. Continue with the other x values and see if you can calculate the y, and we'll put in the answer for you. So I plugged in the values, the y values that we calculated on the right, and I'm graphing this now. So I have my -5, -7 was my first point, so I went to -5 on the x and -7 on the y, and I'm placing my point there. And now I'm going to do the same thing for -3, -3, etc., and I'm going to get all my points. And because I was given the domain, this is the most important piece, because I was given the domain, I cannot connect the dots. If you're given the domain, it's discrete. Domain, discrete. So in this problem, we were not given a domain, we were just given an equation. So we can pick our domain, any numbers in the world. 0, 1, 2, 3 are great numbers. I might just do that every time. But you plug in your x value like we did before, we get our y values, and we graph. The only difference, since there's no domain, this is going to be a continuous graph. So we're going to connect the dots and make a line with arrows. Pause the video and see if you can work out the y values and then check your answer.
Connect them?
We had to connect them. I have some people listening and some people not, so I just don't care because it's your quiz on Friday, not mine. But the x squared is always going to be a U shape. Every time you have an equation that has x squared in it, it's going to be a U shape. This is half of the U. If I had picked negative values, so whenever we have an equation that has an exponent of the second power, so that x squared, for instance, your graph is going to be a parabola, which is like a U shape. If you pick the positive numbers only, you're only going to get half of your U, so you can just kind of mirror image the other side.